Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Bitcoin then. Let's see if we can break down this price action for what it's worth. I don't think it's that bad. You know, I'm still in the mind of where I was, you know, prior to the dips. And if we get this dip, we'll be establishing a new range between 40,000 and 49,500, which is what we've got. So for me, you know, we got this. You know, we said that that's likely. We got it, and then when we got it, I said that we're likely to be within a range, and I think this is the range. So we spent a fair bit of time in the upside of the range, which I think is what is confusing or upsetting a lot of people, thinking that we've actually broken down into a lower level that we shouldn't have done, because this area here appeared to be so strong. But before we even started to hash this range out, I said that I think the range is going to be between here and here. And so yeah, we came down to test it, and my bids were filled on this wick here. But again, it's no different to the way that I've been explaining it on this channel for, well, since the day after this, really, which again is something else that we managed to predict. So it's not that I'm like a perma bull or anything like that, but my expectations of price action continue to play out the way I expected it to, and so for that reason alone, there's no reason for my bias to change, which is that this is an accumulation zone and we have tested the low of it already. And so now what we should be thinking is we should be testing at least the upper middle range, which is where a lot of this 4 hourly and daily was playing out, between 45,500 to 46,500. And I think this is the next destination. So rather than having another, you know, leg down, breaking below this, we'll call it the major support, really, because that's what it is, a major support. Before breaking down below there, I think we will at least come up to test this. Well, it's not a center range, but it is an important range between 45,500 and 46,500. I think that's where we're going next. So if we think about what we see here as well, we've got our channel, our descending channel. So that's broken out of. We broke out of it. And so now what you'd either expect would be a rally straight away or an accumulation outside of it, okay? And that's fine, because that would imply accumulation within the accumulation zone anyway. If you think about where we are and how we're reacting so far, I mean, we tried to hold on the Bollinger Band here, it didn't work. We tried to break above it here and it didn't work, being rejected from the 10 exponential here, and that is that. But we've got two 4 hourly candles being supported on that descending trend line, which was part of this channel. So the channel, the descending channel, is still relevant as far as a support's concerned. The only unfortunate part about this channel is that, about this trend line, is that it's descending. So with every 4 hours it goes down maybe a couple of $100 every 4 hours. So that might give the impression overall that it's not looking particularly good, but it's still holding above these main areas, which is, we'll call it roughly 40,000, but there's a major area of support around 41,500. There's a major area of basically 40,000 flat, and obviously we've got this major wick down here which comes in at about 39,500. So with every $1,000 drop, there's a major area of support. So there is that. There's also, if you think about what we're looking on the RSI here, there's a trend line taking place, and this is a momentum shift. If we were to break out of here, which wouldn't take much at this stage, like I say, if we start to launch up, move up, even if it was towards the top of the Bollinger Band again, so about 44,000, that RSI would have a closure, hopefully, so long as it wasn't sold off instantly, have a closure outside of this downwards trajectory, which would be a change in momentum, meaning that after this next move up, the momentum is at a lower, the momentum's like cooled off to an extent now, whereas that any kind of closure above that downtrend on the RSI would be, hopefully, and would imply a momentum shift, giving us the next drive up, which, like I say, I think the destination is this zone, 45,000 to 46,500, and I think that's where we're going. Notice that we've got a green portion of the cloud over here. That's nothing in itself, but we've also got a cross over here, which is, again, so two aspects of the Ichimoku cloud that we look for to pinpoint a bigger move, not a trend reversal, but a big push up, like what we've seen when we got this with XLM the other day. So we got that move, about a 12% move from XLM. We got it with ICP, that was about a 40 or a 50% move from ICP. So the cloud, when it forms one of these signals, it does imply a big push up, and a push up to a resistance. So the main area, first of all, is going to be here, and if it does have more power to it. Remember, this is just a 4-hourly chart, so we can't be too greedy on where it's going to push it up to. But if it did push it up any further, it could push it up to the top of the accumulation zone. So there is, in my opinion, more upside than downside at this level, despite everything that's been spoken about as far as, obviously the trend, because the trend is important. It is a downtrend, let's face it, and we do have death crosses from exponentials and simples on dailies. These aren't good signs, but if we continue with our, like I say, with your bullish hat on, which an accumulation is a bullish thing, because you accumulate at a low level ready for it to break out, basically, then these, all they are resistances. All of these moving averages are just resistances, and resistances are there to be broken. Then if we're looking for a major momentum shift on the smaller term time frames, and all we're looking to do hopefully is reclaim this, which is the 21 and the 20, which comes in at around 45,000, there, roughly speaking, about 45,000. Again, they're downtrending as well. That offers up the opportunity to at least start to bend the center of this Bollinger Band, which is the first thing that you'd look for to try and get any kind of upwards momentum that could hopefully break as this trend line moves up. But again, we're talking bottom entries, talking bottom buys, we're talking knife catching, and we're talking about it in the form of lower term time frame TA. So there are a lot of precursors that need to be achieved before we get to these levels. But I'm putting myself out on a limb here, saying that I think there's more upside than downside. It definitely goes against what everybody seems to be saying. But yeah, I have to say it again. I've expected this range from the day that we broke into it. In fact, we were talking about it before we even broke into it. I said if we get one of these wicks down in here, down to the low 40s, it'll be a buying opportunity. When we got that, reassessed the situation. The buyback was strong, but then we saw that we were meandering. And I said, look, this is the day that it took place. I said, this is going to be the trading range, and this is currently the trading range. And it's not even a trading range. It's what I believe to be an accumulation range. And so, because things aren't moving up instantly, and because we broke down from this, like I said, I wouldn't really call it a great deal of anything really, because I expected lower in the first place. It's knocked people off guard. I think it's what it's done. It's taken people, by surprise. There was a false sense of security around 46,000, which was broken down. But for me, I was always expecting lower, which is why I had my buy order down in the first place. So at the moment, we're talking 4-hourly stuff. We're talking low-term time frame things. And like I say, if we close below this wick, obviously the 39,000, then expect lower towards the 36,000. But for the moment, the same analysis applies to this chart that it did the day before and the day after we broke into this range. So it's no different to how I've explained it, and it's no different now. And in fact, if anything, as we approach these lows again, then we should try and I should try and take opportunity for what I expect to happen. Now, I am hoping that we do have a little wick lower than this, so I could fill some long positions. But if I don't fill them, it's no big deal, and it's no big deal at all, because the spot positions and this, that, and the other, they're all filled, and so it's all good. And obviously, I only really want to enter along when at a really good opportunity, and that would be at a wick lower towards around 41,003, which is more or less these candle bodies down here. 1, 2, and a few wicks as well. So 41,300, I would be okay to try along. But for the moment, the signal for the 4-hourly has not been generated, but the support on this downwards trend line seems to be in play. And the lower it goes down, like I say, every 4 hours, about a $200 drop, it should hopefully bring me down to where I could take a long position. But this could move at any moment. There's nothing particularly brewing on that 4-hourly yet. We've got 2 of the 4 portions of that cloud that we want to see for a decent move. The 2-hourly not really got anything going on it. It's just the trend line really, below all major moving averages. And obviously the 1 hour is going to look pretty bearish as well, but again, you can see the reactions taking place on that trend line, so I'm okay with it for now. I still think that it's just an accumulation, and this is how we should play it. So let's monitor the 4-hourly is probably the best way to do it. See if this trend line continues to hold over the next day or two. But remember, I think a bounce could could take place. Every time we come down to test this, a bounce could take place on it. It's more likely, though, to take place around the 41,500, which is the major area of support. And if we get a wick lower than that, then I think that would be relatively ready for a long to be bought back up on. But yeah, the 4-hourly and daily and all time frames do appear to show downwards trend, but like I said, before all of that happened, I expected the range, and so I think that this is what's going to happen. So I think that Bitcoin's got more upside than downside in it, and by that doesn't mean that by the time we finish watching this video, we don't head down by another 2 to 5%, revisiting close to that wick, which is just over about 6% really. That's a 6% potential drop from where we potentially are from where we are right now, for what I think could be a 10 to maybe a 17% push up. And again, all being within the accumulation range, not a bullish range, not a bearish range, just a range. And I think that's how we're going to play this. I think this is how it's going to be for a little while, to be honest with you. Right, I'm going to leave it with you there. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.